Hi there, welcome to Season Aware, the platform where we speak truth to power. This broadcast is really to try and shine a light on something that many of us have not been aware of. And it really, the more you hear this, the more it really makes a astonishing read. Um, Me, definitely as a Labour supporter, former, um, I was under the mistaken belief that the interests that Tony Blair was seeking was really something that was for the many, not the few, shall we say? And I did not counter. Well, I did not see until much later on. It was during the Iraq War that we now understood exactly what Tony Blair was about. But you will hear THABO MBEKI here tell us that Tony Blair plans to get rid of Mugabe. Um, the question I want to ask is, what right does Tony Blair have to instruct the secret services in the UK to go and uh, take out or attempt to take out another sovereign country's president? What right? I'd like to know what right he has to put that forward, or even suggest that to Thabo Mbeki, not Thabo Mbeki, yeah, Thabo Mbeki, sorry, yeah, you know, what right? Who gave him that right? Is Zimbabwe not a sovereign country, or is that word sovereign just words to trick Africans into think they are sovereigns when in actual fact they are not? Because the actions displayed by Tony Blair in saying the words here you're about to hear suggest that sovereignty to Africans is as far as the colonials of the West are concerned, Africans can never be sovereign. Let's have a listen.
There is a retired chief of the British Armed Forces, and said that he had to withstand pressure from the then Prime Minister of the United Kingdom, Tony Blair. Tony Blair, who was saying to the chief of the British Armed Forces, you must work out a military plan so that we can physically remove Robert Mugabe.
Did you hear that?
We knew that because we had come under the same pressure that we need to cooperate in some scheme. It was a regime change scheme, even to the point of using military force. And we're saying no.
A regime change scheme that Tony Blair was advocating for against a sovereign country. Isn't that something?
You see, because you're coming from London.
Exactly.
I don't like Robert Mugabe for whatever reason. The people in London don't like him. And we're going to remove him, and therefore it means we are going to put somebody else in his place.
So where's the sovereignty if you do that? So I hope many of you are seeing this thing about they're playing the same game. The French, the English, whatever it is, it's the same game. It's the same game.
Why does it become a British responsibility to decide who leads the people of Zimbabwe? So we're saying no. Let the Zimbabweans sit down, let them agree what they do with their country. Our task is to make sure that we stay with them and work with them. That's all that happened.
So that is something that I really wanted to just touch on. What are your thoughts? Rapidly, the more one sees this revelations around Tony Blair, and obviously we know the stuff to do with the Iraqi war, the second one certainly, and we know the first and second were both the same things anyway. Trying to get to take what resources that belong to others away from them. The more one hears about the plans and the things that Tony Blair was involved in, the more one gets to really look at his leadership and foreign policy with new pair of eyes to understand that it is this the plans were those things to have taken place in Zimbabwe would have caused untold damage. And yet, these are the same people who are telling us about democracy. I thought democracy was about the people and the people deciding their own fate. Democracy is about somebody coming from outside and deciding the fate of their own people and of the people, taking that decision out of their hands, which is in effect what he was doing. Here, one more time. I want you to hear that one more time, so there's no misunderstandings. Let's hear it one more time. Let's hear it.
There is a retired chief of the British Armed Forces, and said that he had to withstand pressure from the then Prime Minister of the United Kingdom, Tony Blair. Tony Blair, who was saying to the chief of the British Armed Forces, you must work out a military plan so that we can physically remove Robert Mugabe. We knew that because we had come under the same pressure that we need to cooperate in some scheme. It was a regime change scheme, even to the point of using military force. And we're saying no. You see, because you're coming from London. I don't like Robert Mugabe for whatever reason.
Exactly.
People in London don't like you. And we're going to remove him, and therefore it means we are going to put somebody else in his place. Why does it become a British responsibility to decide who leads the people of Zimbabwe? So we're saying no. Let the Zimbabweans sit down, let them agree what they do with their country. Our task is to make sure that we stay with them and work with them. That's all that happened.
So there. So let us not have any rose-tinted view of the past. No, let us not do that. Let us see the past for what it really was. The hidden things that they try to gloss over. Oh, because I certainly am not anybody speaking in terms of what Tony Blair did. Certainly, you can see the attempts to take out people. There may be more in Africa. Obviously, you can see what happened in Iraq. So anyway, that's just my view. What is your view on what you just seen? Tony Blair trying out a scheme to take out the head of a regime without having any right to do so in any way, shape, or form. What does that speak to? What does that speak to? And these are the same people who will be telling us about democracy and everything else. Africa, we need to really wake up. I'm glad that President Thabo Mbeki exposed this fact. And these are the things that we need to be aware of as Africans. We need a one Africa. One Africa. We must unite. We have to become one. We need to ensure that we have our own security. Our resources must begin to benefit our people first and foremost. Our own currencies, we have to have one currency. We have one foreign policy ensuring that the whole of Africa is secured for Africans to benefit from our own resources. For too long, others have exploited Africa at our expense, and then call us names on top of all of that. It's time to really wake up. Africa arise, Africa arise, Africa arise. We salute Mali, Burkina Faso, Niger, and Guinea for standing up, and we continue to encourage them to stand up. And others must join. Africa must be free. When Zimbabwe can even be thought of as a place that the UK can go and say, no, we're going to enforce a regime change to a supposedly independent sovereign nation. What does that tell you about the policy of the West in general, in terms of as regards Africa? They don't see Africa as free. We need to really understand that it's we who must free ourselves. We must. Ladies and gentlemen, you are watching Citizen AY, the platform where we speak truth to power. If this resonates with you, please do share. Please, before you go, what I'd like you to do is go ahead and subscribe to Citizen AY, hit notification button, give us a thumbs up, and help us reach more people. We truly appreciate your support. Let's hear your comments. What are your thoughts on the video you just saw? You're watching Citizen AY, the platform where we speak truth to power. I'll be back later on. Thank you, and bye for now.